We are back in the kitchen with John Slatter from ChefJohnSlatter.com, continuing celebration of National Soup Month. John, what's next on the agenda?
They changed the music. I know it's because
you like
I
it,
dance
right?
in this segment. I'm like, oh, New Year's
You're kind of
music.
just dancing, bobbing around.
Always.
We're trying to help you with the resolution goals. Get
Absolutely.
You moving.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect.
Jiggy with it.
So, a lot of different kinds of soup out there.
Sure.
Liquid ingredients, hot or cold, equals soup. So, a lot of different styles of soup. This one is more of an Asian style, kind of, sort of, or along that lines, where a lot of it depends on how you cut the vegetables. In the last soup, everything was diced and kind of small to be about the same size as the bean pieces. In this soup, everything is going to be sliced. This soup also starts again with a good stock, but it doesn't take nearly as long as the last one.
Last one, you needed a whole bone.
Yep, and like 8 to 12 hours to simmer it. So this one, start off with about a pound of hot sausages.
There you go.
And put them in your soup pot. Fill your soup pot to about how much soup you're going to make, and boil them. Bring it to a boil, and then let it simmer for 45 minutes. Then remove the sausages from the broth. Then you would take, so that broth, the important thing about the sausages too, if you can, use the ones with the natural casings. They have the collagen in it. Again, that's stuff that our body can reuse and help us with our joint health and other good things in our body, as opposed to the other casings kind of dissolve in the soup. So if you can, use natural casings. I
enjoy when you pitch sausage as a healthy food. Like, see, now it helps you with it. You got to eat your sausage. Very healthy.
Absolutely. Well, so now the broth has picked up the flavor from the sausage and the fat. And all I did was I took one small head of cabbage and just shredded it very finely, removed the core, and put it into the broth and brought that to a boil and simmered it for 45 minutes. Cabbage takes longer to cook than the other ingredients in the soup. So we've now got our sausage-flavored broth and our cabbage together. And now we're going to craft the rest of the soup. I'm going to steal a little bit of that fat we had from the last soup.
Add some flavor. You cook right on the fat a little bit.
So you can see the onions are nice and thinly sliced. And I am putting celery in the soup, but I made sure to slice it across the grain, I'll demonstrate, so that the slices don't have the strings in them. But I wanted nice long slices.
Why do you like nice long slices in there?
Well, so that it looks like something in the soup, like the onions and the sausages are sliced, so it'll give prettiness to our final product. But making sure we cut against the grain on the celery so that the little strings are cut and don't end up as strings in our soup. That's the key we're getting to there. And to that, we're just going to add, this is a quick soup, some very thin slices of fresh bell pepper.
I like what we were saying in the last segment. That helps you clear up your congestion a little bit.
Well, we started with the hot sausage, so there's that flavor in there. And we've got our pepper in there, and our jalapeno pepper we're going to add too for a little bit more spice. If you want it hotter, leave the seeds in. If you want it a little more mild, you can take the seeds out.
Now, is jalapeno one of those peppers where if you touch it, you should probably wash your hands before you touch your eyes or anything?
It's a good idea. I mean, it's not as hot as most of the other hot peppers that they talk about, but I mean, it could burn.
It's up there.
So we've got our celery, our onions, and our peppers sauteing in the pan. We're going to add a little bit of fresh garlic, some powdered ginger, and now we got some spice. So here we've got a little cayenne pepper powder.
Now, is the powdered ginger what ties it into that Asian flavor you were talking about?
A little bit, and the cabbages and the spice, and it's going to come together. It's going to be really nice, the heat and the ginger. And then one of my all-purpose adding spice, flavor, and heat, I use jerk seasoning from the Caribbean because it's got pepper flake and a little bit of thyme and lots of other spices to give it a nice flavor. So we're going to put that in there. And you can see I put that in there dry so that the herbs toast a little bit.
I love these recipes where you're merging almost like 3 different cultures into one.
And then the sausage I slice very thin, like the slices on our vegetables.
You got the Caribbean, you got the Asian, you got the jalapeno pepper, you got a little bit of Hispanic culture in there now.
This is definitely a blended soup.
This is a continental
great
blend.
Thing. This, look in your fridge. The concept of soup is very similar. Cook some ingredients, make a broth, add them together. So a lot of different flavors and profiles go together well. I try and help people with my personal culinary services build those flavors for their own house. And now we've got our warm ingredients sauteed, our soft cabbage and broth. A little instant boil magic here.
You can hear that from our microphones. You can just hear that sizzle.
And this soup is now ready to serve.
Now, what do you like to eat with this soup? You don't eat crostinis in there or anything, or is it good enough on its own?
This soup is really just light vegetable. This is kind of like, doesn't really need anything else to go along with it. It's very fulfilling. Maybe a side dish of rice alongside of it would be a very healthy option.
And I think you were mentioning this before with the jalapeno seeds, but if you want to control the spice level of the soup.
Right. You could use red pepper flake, or like I use the jerk seasoning. You could use just smoked paprika instead of a spicy pepper, so you get some of the pepper seasoning and the smokiness without, say, the heat of a chipotle powder or something, or the cayenne pepper.
There you go, John. Thank you so much for being here. That's 2 soup recipes for you guys for National Soup Month right here in January. Thanks,
Thank you
John.
very much for having me.
Thank you, sir.